in most cases, you hold on to real estate for a few years, you pay it down, it appreciates a little. Stuff is flat or down 5 or 10% in a lot of markets. And so, that's opportunity as a buyer. You can always refinance and change your interest rate. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, what you paid for the house is always going to be what you paid for the house.
Folks, I don't know if you've caught this, but buyer sentiment has fundamentally changed. Again, buyer settlement. What do people think about buying a home? We have long lived at historically low levels of buyer sentiment, but something has clearly changed. Matt, what are you seeing in the data?
Yeah, well, in the data, I'm seeing more mortgage applications. I feel like, I've got clients writing more offers, and, there was a clear shift post-election. And you can tie it to whatever you want. People, there's no more uncertainty. We've got our next president. There's no more worrying about that and getting 75 texts a day from both sides of the campaign. But yeah, the metric I saw was highest buyer sentiment number since February of 2020. And this specific one I was looking at was just asking a consumer, do you think in 12 months from now, you'll be better off or worse off than you are today? That 74 number that was eclipsed the 73 in buyer sentiment from February of 2020 is people just saying, yeah, I feel good about the economy. I feel good about my personal finances. I think I'll be better off in a year than I am now. Like, that directly translates to the largest purchase of most people's lives. Like, you're not going to do that if you've got a negative outlook, right? The sky is falling, my job is not that secure, and the housing market is going to collapse. Like, those type of, thoughts will stop people from buying.
Yeah. The report you're referring to, I think if people wanted to Google it, would be Consumer Sentiment Report. And you're absolutely right. We saw some shocking differences. I think I talked about it this week on Monday, it might've been Tuesday, where people were asked, to your point, do you think right? Not the economy, not your family unit. Are you going to be better off or worse off in 12 months? And there was a shockingly high number. It was something like 67 or 74 or some big ass number that thought they would be better off in 12 months. A clear change, a double digit change from a month ago, right? Think about this. Let's call the number 74. It was 63. It went up 11 points in a month. Again, the only thing that happened in this month is we got the election results, and they're known. We're not fighting. There's no questions about who's going to be next. It was a clear and decisive victory. So it clearly happened. There were clearly people were apprehensive. Like we talked about for 6 or 8 weeks before the election, people are nervous. The consumer is going to pull back. Guess what? They're feeling pretty good. They're feeling noticeably better.
Yeah, for sure. And, buyers, it doesn't take a lot to sideline a buyer. Rates are high, I'm going to hold off. There's uncertainty around the election, I'm going to hold off. And, so that's what a lot of us are feeling, in my market, with my personal business, in markets across the U.S. People are like, man, it's a busier December than I've had in years. A lot of those, sideline buyers are like, you know what, I feel good. And, from personal perspective, I closed a deal on Monday, Mike. I got to look in my system. I pre-approved these guys in either 20 or 21. So it's either 3 or 4 years of, putting in some offers, kind of being in and out of the market as far as trying to close on a home. Finally did it December of 2024. And that's, one example of a huge swath, I think, of people that are one, I feel like I'm going to be in a better place in a year from now. I'm comfortable. It's my time to buy. Because you don't time the market price wise, interest rate wise, any of that wise. Like, it's a personal thing. Are you comfortable and are you in a stable position with your finances, with your job? And so those people are out there, they're buying, and there's quite a few of them, right? When there's record lows from a transaction standpoint, there's still millions and millions of people that qualify. And that goes back to the whole willing and able. We've had more of that lately than ever before. I've got people that are able to buy, they qualify, but are they willing at this rate, at this price, in this environment? some of the willingness, I guess, scale has gone up.
Well, I think that's exactly right. Again, if you don't understand economics and specifically demand's a two-step function. You have to be willing, like you want to, and able. And if either of those things are not true, like you're not willing or you can't get approved, you're not counted as demand. And I think you're right. I think what we've seen over the last year or even 18 months is a lot of buyers were able, right? They were pre-approval, but they couldn't find anything. They kept getting outbid. So they kind of pulled back on the willing. I think what people are realizing now is now's the time. It's winter. Let's write some disrespectful offers. Let's get some, let's ask the seller to pay for credits. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the spring market. And again, right now, the sellers aren't there. They're not adding new inventory. So I think 2025 is going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For me and for the sake of buyers, I hope that rates hover at current levels and they don't come down and pull a bunch more, competition off the sidelines is what it would do. And people are going to be getting deals. It's interesting to see. I would challenge the one rental at a time listener. If you're looking to buy a house, whether it's investment property or not, like go look at historic data and compare the price you'd pay today versus the summer of 22. I think the summer of 22 for a lot of markets, as rates started to climb and there was a little bit of a last ditch frenzy, it's listed at 559. We're going to offer 605 because we're going to get a 3.99 or a 4.25. Some of those people probably smart in their thinking to lock in that 3.9 interest rate as it started to fade because nobody knew how high it would go, how long it would stay here. But I've talked to people, and this is, a refinance conversation. They bought in 22. In most cases, you hold on to real estate for a few years, you pay it down, it appreciates a little. Stuff is flat or down 5 or 10% in a lot of markets. And so, that's opportunity as a buyer. You can always refinance and change your interest rate. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, what you paid for the house is always going to be what you paid for the house. And, you got it at a good deal in a fourth quarter where there wasn't a lot of competition, rates were higher, people were scared. Anything that affects that and brings more buyers back just has upward pressure on prices.
Yeah, it's good. I'm just playing with this right now in my head. So we went from the wild and crazy sellers market of 2022. I think we've clearly been in a buyer's market for the last 3 months. Might last till January, might last till February. There's a chance if the sellers show up, if the sellers show up, we might actually enter the dreaded balanced market. where days on market are 20, 25, 30 days. You're not having competing bidding wars, within the first 48 hours. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to get back to a balanced market?
Oh, it really would. Yeah. And for the stuff that flies off the shelf because it's turnkey and it's nice and it's the right street in the right neighborhood, like we want that to go from 5 days to 15 or 20. And the way to do that is add more inventory, more stuff to choose from. People aren't going to feel like they got to, put in that over list offer on day 3. And then, some of the ugly stuff that's sitting for 120 days, people are going to just come to grips with reality and say, okay, I've got to let this thing go for 450.
There you go. Matt, do me a favor. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, where do they go?
Go to greatmortgagebroker.com. Quick form. We're licensed in 48 states. We're happy to help. If you've got, a one-off question or just want to fire something off to me, Matt, M-A-T-T, at mtmg.com. If you're getting yourself started and you want to put together pre-approval and you want to be dialed in, greatmortgagebroker.com is where to go. Automatically logs you in our system, says, oh, you're looking to buy in Missouri, connect you with somebody in Missouri. I've had a lot of conversations where I want to do part of the intake and I just want to hear from people. So you may hear from me just to intake it, but then say, hey, here's Chad Masters. He's able to help you here. I'm going to connect you with Troy. That's something that I can continue to scream at, Mike, and some will listen and some won't. Get your finances dialed in. I still get pushback, and I don't know why it is. Somebody's like, I don't remember being asked for all this stuff last time. I don't remember, the bank being so thorough. Why not? Don't you want to be thoroughly vetted? Know that when you write an offer, you can close in 22 days and not have hiccups. You search for the divorce decree and the 2023 year-end pay stub now. Don't search for it when you're 2 weeks into escrow and everybody's screaming at you to get in your
Frantic.
conditions.
There you go. All right, brother. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Yep, you too. Thanks, Mike.